Hello, welcome to the Temple of Healing. I'm Tracy Andara Starloha, and I'm your guide through the sacred path of whole body wellness. Here we go beyond surface solutions to explore deep, root level health, body, mind, spirit, and soul. This is a space for truth seeking, transformation, and for community. So share your thoughts, questions, and reflections in the comments. I respond and engage personally. And if this content is resonating with you, I'd love for you to like, subscribe, and share it with somebody who's on the healing path too. Now let's dive in. Today I want to talk to you about a subject that's close to my heart. It's about relationships. I've been a serial monogamist for about 20 years, so I've learned a lot about relationships, and I'm in a really healthy and profoundly transformative relationship right now, and I want to share with you all the enlightening experiences I've come to through all of my processes with intimate relationships. So what is a serial monogamist? It is somebody who is always in a monogamous relationship. For me, there's only been about 3 to 6 months in between relationships that I'd been single. And even before the last relationship I just started, I wanted to be single. I was ready to be single and just devote my energy to myself. And the universe said, no, here's a relationship. It'll be better for you to heal and process through relationship, not by yourself. This video is for you if you want to learn about how to have a healthy relationship with yourself and an intimate partner, and tips and tricks about how to navigate that, how to make it better, how to make it more enriching for both of you, and how to really love and honor yourself and the other. Relationships are both comforting and challenging, so I invite you to look at how they can work for you, meet you in your wounds and in your greatness, and utilize them for your soul's growth and expansion. I'm going to guide you through about 7 things that I think are key to healthy relationships. The first thing being to make sure you're a good match for this person. Do you share the same soul goals, or does where you're going align and what you want in life align? So a relationship, if you're going to commit to somebody, is a big thing. So you want to make sure this person has the same interests in you on a soul level. For me, I really love and am attracted to people who are interested in food, health, awakening, art, and freedom. Ultimately, the soul wants to experience freedom, and for me, the relationship that I attracted, this person wants the same thing. That's what their guiding compass is. So we both have the same guiding compass, so we are able to walk the path together because we're both going to the same place. So find your deep interests, and if they're shared with this person, it'll lead to a more smooth, fulfilling relationship. So now that you've found somebody that you want to share your love with on an intimate level, day to day, it's important to know about many things. One of them being their love language. This is just a navigational tool to make sure you're getting your needs met and they're getting theirs. There's 5 love languages according to the Love Languages book. One of them is gift giving. Another one is words of affirmation. Another one is quality time, acts of service, and physical touch. So I want you to assess for yourself, what are those needs that are top? What are those love languages that are top for you? Maybe pick 2 of them. We all deserve all 5 of these. However, we do have a dominant one that really makes us feel loved. For me, it's quality time and physical touch. I really feel like I'm getting my needs met in a relationship if we're spending time together regularly, and if there's like lots of cuddles and hugs and physical touch. The other ones are great too, and I experience all of them in my relationship, at least most of them. And that said, my partner's top love languages are not the same as mine, and usually they won't be in a relationship. So I discovered after asking that my partner's top one is acts of service. So reminding myself often to say, okay, what can I do for this person that he'd really appreciate? One time I got his car cleaned for him and he was just over the moon. And then if I don't know, I just ask. I say, hey, is there anything I can do? Is there anything I can do for you today? I think he likes it better though when I don't ask and when I just do things for him. And I feel really good when I know that what I'm giving is something that's really appreciated and received. Sometimes if you say your love language is gift giving and you love receiving gifts and you think you're gonna give gifts to your partner and they're gonna like it just as much, that's possibly not true. Maybe they'll take a gift and they'll be like, thank you, and it won't really mean a lot to them. But maybe if you know their love language is actually touch and you offer them a massage, that would mean a lot more to them than the gift. Next thing that's top priority to learn about yourself and your partner, and this might come before love language, is your attachment style. There are 3 main attachment styles. One is avoidant, one is secure, and one is anxious. The avoidant and the anxious are the types to look out for because it means there's underlying trauma that needs to be processed. And I think the goal is for everyone to become secure in their attachment style. So I've been predominantly an anxious attachment my whole life. Up until now, I've really stepped into the secure space. But I don't want to go into the details of these styles. There's probably tons of YouTube videos online that go in depth in the attachment styles. So I invite you to look those up, see which one you're more of, and just find tools to communicate about those and to be aware of how you show up in a relationship. If you're anxious attachment, you might be clingy, needy, you might feel like you can't give them space, or you get anxious if they're gone for too long. If you're avoidant, you might feel scared of getting close. So when you feel like you're getting closer, you actually pull away. And so when an anxious and avoidant are together, you could see how this could be a really hard mix, because the anxious will always be chasing and the avoidant will always be running away, and they're both feeling kind of not well or scared. So just finding a way to navigate that, do your research, and find a way to realize what's happening and to consciously go into that. And that's going to lead me to my next point, is about trauma. These anxious and avoidant attachment styles can be rooted in trauma, and everyone has trauma from their primary relationships as a child or from any experience in life. People can gather trauma. These are experiences that didn't feel good, and there was no time to process them. So they get stuck in the body. They're stuck in the subconscious mind. So you're not really aware of your trauma sometimes, but it's there. And relationships, especially intimate ones, and all relationships are a fertile ground for actually creating space to bring up trauma so it can be healed and resolved. This is an important issue because as you get closer to someone, like I said, their trauma could surface. And we need to really understand how to navigate this. When someone's trauma comes up, you don't want to take it personally, because then you're making it about you and you're not really letting them have their space to heal. Their trauma could look like emotions that are uncomfortable, like anger or sadness. The important part is and I learned this from the Art of Accomplishment series on YouTube by Joe Hudson and his wife. You really need to let them have their space to feel their emotions. And that takes a lot of patience and sensitivity. So I wanted to also double click on trauma and how to relate with it. In some relationships, we could actually be overly sensitive to someone's trauma and almost enable it. So say they're feeling uncomfortable about something, and you choose to almost baby them in the situation. The other end of that spectrum is someone's trauma comes up and you actually you resist it. You either push it away, or you don't like it, you're insensitive to it, or you take it personally. So you're actually not being compassionate with them, and they're not feeling safe to actually move through it. So trauma involves a lot of compassion, and it involves patience, and it involves actually being really emotionally intelligent. So this is a perfect place to really practice these things, which you need in relationships. I find that we haven't been taught about attunement and emotional care with people. For me personally, if someone's unhappy, I want to fix it. I don't want the uncomfortable unhappiness feelings. So instead of trying to fix it, just actually being with them and whatever they're feeling is 120% better than trying to fix it, because fixing it implies it's bad that they're feeling that way and you want to change it. But you don't want to change somebody. You want to let them have their experience. And if something keeps coming up recurringly that doesn't feel comfortable for you, you can address it, and you can communicate how it's going for you, and if they're open to it, and if they want to stay in the relationship, they'll look at ways that they can adjust. I'm going to go into that in a bit, but right now I just wanted to give you an example of how I healed deeply from a past trauma by the way that my partner showed up for me in that space. So my partner, he went out with somebody who was an ex-girlfriend, and they just went on like a hike, and they did like a body work session. And I didn't have that much warning about that it was going to happen. Or did I like get asked if it was okay with me? And I could have made, and I did make it a huge deal, because when he came home and I didn't even know that he had been out doing that, I was extremely shocked. It triggered this deep, deep feeling of like shock and grief inside of me, and fear. And so, but he thought he was just doing an innocent thing by going out with a friend. And for me, I took it way far, and I really had a lot of emotions about it. Now, in one reality, he could have said, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't know that would hurt you, and I'll never do it again, or I'll be more sensitive next time." A part of that would have been really great to hear. That said, he didn't do that. He actually stayed in his innocence and his truth of, I didn't do anything wrong. I was just simply going out with a friend. It wasn't anything that I know that would hurt you. So instead of like apologizing for something he didn't do, like he just stayed in his own center, and he let me go through these deep feelings of pain that were actually coming from a place of trauma from when I was 1.5 years old, when my mother left and I was basically abandoned. I felt abandoned. It was a feeling of deep shock and deep fear of being alone. And that experience that I had with my partner just recently triggered those feelings of being that I had when I was a baby. And so I just got to like feel them again. And if you don't know, what you feel, you heal. So my father, bless his heart, he gave me a book in my journey of all the relationships that I've been in, and it's called What You Feel, You Can Heal. And it's a great book. I invite you to check it out. And it's all about like whatever you suppress or you haven't felt, you're going to carry it with you, and it's going to disrupt or affect your present. But what you feel fully, it actually gets to move through your whole body, and it gets to be released. So it's no longer lodged in your system. And I love Teal Swan's work on this. She talks about like feeling a feeling all the way through, just laying there and just asking, what does this feel like now? What does this feel like now? So I'll link that video of Teal Swan's, and it really, really helps. When you're in a relationship, this stuff is going to come up. the feelings of the past. Past hurts from other partners, past hurts from your parents, past hurts from your friends, past hurts from your past lives, if you believe in past lives. And so giving your partner the space to go through those feelings, knowing that you're going to be there on the other side, is really helpful. And it's like I said, fertile ground for tremendous healing and transformation. And that brings me to my next point, which is a commitment to growth together. So if you're in a relationship and the other person is not willing to, say, go to therapy or work on the relationship with you, that is a total red flag that they don't want to grow and they don't want to evolve and they want to stay stuck in however they're operating. It's not going to work. It's not equal like that. Two people both need to be willing to do the work. So that's like non-negotiable. So when you have two people who are just there for it and are willing to change themselves and willing to show up for you in your changes and your evolution and growth, you've got a winner. So I wanted to tell you today about an amazing way to show somebody that you're there for that growth, that you're committed as a partner to growing and evolving with this person. Now, some couples, they go on dates as a form of showing that they're, committed to the joy, fun, and love and evolution of the relationship. They do a date day once a week, and I've done that, and it's actually really fun, and it can be challenging to keep that going, but it's really rewarding when you do. Now, lately, my partner presented a different form of a date day. And this is every other day intimacy, about half an hour to 2 or 3 hours, where you commit to being with your partner in an intimate way, whether that be checking in, sharing how each other's feeling. It could be physical intimacy. It could be even like, doing an activity together. But it's where you come together and you have a container of space where it's just for you two to experience what you want to experience together. This has been a game changer for my relationship. It showed me that he really wanted to be with me, like as an anxious attachment type person. I'm always like, does he really want to be with me? And when he shows me every day this stable commitment of I'm here, then it really lends itself to like this surrender to love and trust and safety in the relationship. So I invite you to practice this. It'll really improve your relationship no matter what state it's at. Finding time every other day if you can, or make it your own timing, like twice a week or 3 times a week, where you come together and you practice being present with one another, meditating, eye gazing, sharing how you're feeling, and also, of course, physical intimacy in a conscious way. Let me know if you have any questions about that, and I'd be happy to share more of the journey with you. Another thing that I wanted to mention is that we're talking about the heart and the soul of somebody and the essence of somebody that you're sharing space with. It's not really about physical looks or material, how much money someone has. It really needs to be about how you can relate with each other, how much fun you have together, how you connect on like a spiritual heart and soul level. So I've noticed that I've had a lot of insecurity and self-esteem issues, and I just finally let go of them because I realized like my body, I'm not my body. Whatever I look like, it doesn't need to be perfect. I think we live in a culture where we want to look so good and our value is because of how we look. But I realized that like that's not my value. And when I shifted my attention away from how I look, do I look as good as this? Do I look like, am I attractive enough? When I shifted my attention away from that, I shifted it towards like, how am I relating with this person? How am I loving? How am I giving? How am I present? And that's what matters. The other stuff, it doesn't matter as much. And I learned this through changes. Like, say my partner, he cut all of his hair off. Like, he looks different now. Maybe I was, attracted to him with his long hair, but now his hair is short and I'm still attracted to him. I realized it's not about how he looks. It's about like the heart that we share. So, and the love and the commitment and the commitment to growth and deeper expansion and love. Like, there's this movie that just came out called The Materialists, and the people that she's interviewing, that she's helping to find a match for, they're saying they want this certain height in a person, they want a certain look, they want a certain job, they want a certain income. It's like those things are kind of superficial. And really, in the end of the movie, she married the guy who was broke. And when she, in fact, in the beginning of the movie said a non-negotiable was that he's filthy rich. So she churned around her values and priorities because she realized she wanted to just feel love and connection, not like have this life of glamour. Speaking of financial resources, in my experience, it's important to not merge all of your finances, like money in the bank. It's actually good to have separate bank accounts for yourself. I learned this through my parents. I learned this from my own experience. It's gonna cause like a lot of feelings you can avoid if you have separate bank accounts. Basically, money equals power or energy. We are all individual beings and we have our own power and our own energy. We don't need to merge those. It's actually good to just stay sovereign and autonomous with that. I'll give you an example. When I combined all my resources with my partner, and then I said I wanted to buy something and he said no, I got really upset. I was like, but that's like that's not for you to say is what I spend my money on. And it was something for our business that I thought we really needed. So maybe he was being practical. Maybe he was aware that we couldn't afford it. But I felt really disempowered in that moment when I couldn't purchase what I wanted because he was the gatekeeper of my decisions and of where I spend my energy. So I just invite you to look at that and just know it's really important to maintain autonomy in a relationship, no matter how close it is. You're your own soul on your own journey, and it's good to protect that and keep yourself intact. If you disagree and you're in a marriage and you share all resources, you have the same bank accounts across the board, let me know how that's working for you. I'd be happy to hear another alternative perspective. I don't need my perspective to be right. I just know that for me, that's really important. If you have a different situation, I'd love to hear about it. So the last thing I wanted to share with you in terms of how to navigate a relationship in the best way possible is to see every relationship, especially your intimate partnership, as a mirror, a reflection of yourself. Anytime you see something in somebody else that you don't like, it probably means you either don't like it about yourself or you aren't willing to let yourself be like that and you kind of are jealous. You want to be like that. If you see something you love about somebody, guaranteed it's something you love about yourself as well. We can only see somebody and meet someone as much as we've seen and met ourselves. This is a great tool and thing to remember, that if something comes up and you don't like what someone's doing, instead of blaming them or attacking them or making them wrong, turning it back on oneself and saying, well, how have I done this? And how do I do this? And what can I change about it? We can never change what's happening externally, how people act or the circumstances. We can change them by reorienting ourselves to them, by changing how we look at them, how we show up to experience them. That's the only change that we are in control of. So like I've said previously in the video, how can we commit to our own growth and evolution? It involves being open to changing, to learning, to trying something new, trying a new way of looking at something or a new way of being with something. I invite you to look at everything you see, especially your relationships, as encouragement on your path. They're just trying to help you by showing you who you really are. And that's the value of relationships. They really help you see yourself. So as I said, relationships are a sacred space of transformation. And there's a lot to navigate, and it's important for this to be true, that both people are willing and available to do the work. Thank you for walking with me today in this sacred space. I hope this message nourished you and supported your journey wherever you are. If it spoke to you, let me know in the comments, and like and subscribe and share it with somebody who else could use this information. For deeper practices and tools, like I mentioned, the books and things, check out the links in the description. For your truth is medicine. So keep listening to yourself and keep loving yourself and those around you. I'll see you in the next video. Aloha.